Hello, folks. We worked on this barn, and I just have to show you these. I want to put some sunflowers in here and then splatter this thing. We're almost done with it, but I just have to share these. Oh, you know what? I love the sunflowers, and depending on what time you go up to Steamboat, you're going to find different flowers. I don't know if somebody works on some of these, fixing these flowers there, if they replant them or what, but they always have some kind of flowers in the front, and it's just so neat. I do love it. So I'm going to do some sunflowers here, and this is from another picture, because this last time when I took this picture, they didn't have the sunflowers in there, so I have to use this from another picture that I have with sunflowers. But aren't they neat? I love sunflowers. They're one of my very favorite flowers, and I love my flower garden, but boy, I do love the sunflowers. So I'm going to put some sunflowers in here, and if you remember from my one before, I had done it with some watercolor pencils, but then when you put the water over it, then it's all gone. So now we're just gonna do some sunflowers. How's that? We're just gonna paint some, and that's gonna be, I've got this post over here for some eye stoppers, and we'll do some wire and stuff and some flowers over there. But I want to do some of my eye stopper over here. I want these to be the sunflowers. So that's kind of how these flowers would be. You know what? I'm going to do some of this Aurelian, I think, on top of that green. It just needs to be the brighter. So these aren't going to be perfect, but you know what? You're going to know they're sunflowers. Oh, well, is that awesome or what? So, whenever you do a bouquet, one of the things you do when you do a bouquet, you're going to almost always do 3, 5, 7, 9. You do an even number. So these ones that I'm going to do the bigger over here, that's kind of how they're going to be. 3, 5, 7. I'm going to do more than 3. I don't know for sure how many I'm going to do. Let's see what happens, huh? Just have to try it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so there's 3. Let's do one over here, and then we'll do some flowers more in the background. But just to do these more in the foreground. We had such a funny spring. I had planted some sunflowers back here to be above a big metal thing that my husband had fixed for me, and we had so much wind that poor thing, it did not do the best. So anyway, you can now that's 5. I think that's all I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do some other little marks out here that are parts of flowers, even though they aren't just actual things. And then I want some of that over here, because I don't know if you're acquainted with the Indian paintbrush, but that's something that we have a lot of in Colorado, is the Indian paintbrush. So I'm just going to do just basically some colors over here, and then we're going to do some wire around these things. Now let's see. I need some brownish. Remember, when we're going to do brown, we're going to do some green, and then we're going to do some alizarin crimson with it. We can get an awesome brown with that, and we need a good brown for the top of those little sunflowers. I think that'll be. And I'm going to be careful about that brown, because these things are probably too wet for me to be putting much stuff in them. I'll just put just a few little dots here and there, and then we'll come back to it, because I don't want it to blend in the gold. Let's see if it's going to be all right. I think for right now I'm all right. That one is, I think it's going to be all right. Now we're probably going to want to come back, because that's going to lighten up. We'll want to add some more, but that's an awesome brown for those sunflowers. Yeah. Okay, let's put a little bit of that over here, even though these aren't actual sunflowers. And then you know what I think I want to put, because look at these pink flowers. I don't know what those things are, but they're kind of, and that's not an Indian paintbrush. I don't know what those things are, but they are a kind of a pinkish flower around this post. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna put some of that in there. And this is, I think what I'll do is use my little tiny brush for that. I think I'll use my little brush. Let's do that. Now I'm gonna want this stuff. Now, you know, I was just gonna tell you I want this stuff to dry quickly because I want to splatter it. And you need to have it pretty dry before you're gonna splatter it. But I don't like to use the hair dryer. Some people use a hair dryer to dry something. The only thing I don't like about it, and maybe this is just weird to me, but I feel like that when you use the hair dryer, somehow it changes stuff and it doesn't take your paint the same. So I try to stay away from the hair dryer if I can. But I'm going to paint some of these little flowers. It looks like they're just kind of a little flower up on a stem, and they just have little pink flowers on them, and I don't know what they are. But this little pink, I just think just some of these in here just make this interesting. So now I've got 4. I'm going to do one more. I'm kind of into the 5, 7. Now see that dry, already that thing dried so light, and I want it to be kind of bright. So that's crazy. Okay, now I'm gonna do this because I want some more light. You know how I like these watercolor pencils, or not pencils, watercolor sticks. So I'm gonna wet this watercolor stick, okay? And then I'm gonna come in on top of some of these sunflowers that I did to give me the light. Oh, look at that. That is awesome. That's exactly what they need. And it gives them more the color. You know, I know the sunflowers can vary. They really can vary, because you can even get them in kind of a brownish gold colored. I mean, they can come in all different kinds of colors, and they are beautiful. But for these, I want just plain old-fashioned sunflowers. So they aren't perfect, but they say sunflowers, and that's all that matters. Today we're just making them so they're sunflowers, and then we're going to see if we can get this thing to dry, and we are going to use that's what we'll do. Now I'm going to come in here, because we need some grass and stuff on top of all of this. I'm going to come in here with this other brownish color, and I know this sounds crazy, but I'm wetting this. And what color is this? Oh, that's alizarin crimson. I don't want that. That'll be too red. That'll be too red. I mean, oh, here, this is copper kettle. Yeah, that's more the color I want. Yep. It's more of a brown. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet this first. Watch me wet it just a little bit, okay? Because I'm not going to do this all over. I'm just going to do it a little bit. And this is wet, okay? And I'm going to go in here where it's wet. And I'm going to keep this wet. And I'm going to do just some lines. Then I'm going to take my brush while it's wet and blend it. So this kind of gives it a dry brush look without really dry brushing it. And it won't matter at all to come back over some of this green and just bring it up into it. Just go like so. Okay? Now, because I've done some of this here, I like to have my, as much as possible, I like to have corners darker. So what I'm going to do, and I splattered some water there, so I'm just going to blot it, and it takes care of it. and it made little light spots, but I may come back in with that and wet that. But I'm going to take me a drink of water because I have a tickle, and who wants to paint when you got a tickle? Oh, good Colorado water. That's good. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to work on darkening each of these corners. I want you to see that because it really makes a difference. It will lead you into the barn if the corners are dark. My sky, it's already pretty dark at the corners, but it'll lead you in, and that's awesome. So I'm going to mix. I'm going to mix a combination of the new gamboge, okay, and I'm going to mix some cobalt blue. So I'm going to make it pretty dark. In fact, I think I'm going to use a little ultramarine blue with that too. I think I want to do that. I want to, and then we can put some other gold over it if we need to. Oh wow, look at that. I'm going to get some more. Yeah. Now, look how I've done that. I've done it so dark, and you think, oh my cow, what on earth are you doing? Yes, I've got that dark corner, but watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean out my brush, going to leave the corner dark, but then I'm going to pull it up. So the top part will not make a hard line. Then I can fix this green right into some of that. Look at that. Then I'm going to do just a little bit of dry brush right in with that. Won't matter at all. I'm going to just go right in with those other flowers. Doesn't matter. Oh, I like that dark color. So now I got the color over here. I'm going to mix it over here too. Now I need to be a little bit more careful over here because I've got these sunflowers, and some of those are wet. So I don't want to make too much. I don't want to lean into those flowers too much. So I'm going to see if I can do this very carefully. Okay, now I'm going to wet it. And while it's wet, and I made a bigger glob. I may need to fix that. That's all right. We'll fix you. We won't leave you in bad shape. Okay, look at that. I can come right up into those. Just blend that. And I may need to come back and bring some of that yellow. We can do that. We'll fix it so those corners are nice and dark. And that will lead us into the barn. And you know what? Here we're with what I'm doing right now, it's kind of making some lost and found edges. When you have lost edges, it's things kind of blend together. And you know what? That's all right. That's just not too shabby. Not too shabby. It's real soft. You know what? That's why I love watercolor. You can do so much with it. You just don't be afraid to try some stuff because you'll be amazed the things that you can come with just by trying them. Now see, I've got a little line up here, so I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on that right into the flowers, and that's going to take care of it. It's going to be soft. And you know, when this is dry, this is where my little pen will be so good to just kind of accentuate those petals and some leaves. Oh, and you know what? Oh my, this post over here, it's got some wire on it. We need to put some wire on this post. There is some, well, I'm just going to kind of make it wire, but I'll bet you anything it's probably that sticky kind, you know, that has all the, I'll bet there's wire hanging all around this thing. You know, how many times has it been when somebody's been trying to fix the wire out in the field, the fence, and you get stuck in that barbed wire fence? Oh my, that's not a good thing. You wanna be careful if you happen to be around barbed wire fence. And so I'll bet there's been plenty of barbed wire around these fence posts. I'm not sure what this one was because it's kind of a bigger thing. So I'm not sure what was hooked to that. But you know what? I'm gonna use some of this colored pencil. You know what? We need to make some more grass up here. We need to make some grass. Now when you're using your watercolor pencil, it's like the watercolor sticks. They really do, they dry out really quickly. So you have to keep wetting them. I'm gonna put some of that down here, but just a touch of that. And these come in, and if you remember, these are Faber-Castell watercolor pencils, and they're just so good. They just, and I just kind of roll this thing around because I wet it, so it's wet on one side and maybe not on another. So I'm gonna put some of that down here, and then I think we are gonna be ready to do a little bit of splattering. I hope we can do this with the brush, my faithful toothbrush that is just for painting, You know, I tell you, don't let anybody use your brushes. Oh, now see how it bloomed down here? See, that's called a bloom when it goes like that. See how, and the reason that happened, it had too much water. But you know what? I don't think I'm gonna change that. I think I'm gonna just leave that like it is. But you know what? Those flowers have some greens. They have some leaves. I'm gonna come in here with some greens and some stems. We need stems on those flowers. Oh, that's true with these things. These needs to have they need to have some greens with them. Yeah, oh my. How can you have a flower without having any green? Don't have a flower? Oh my. I'll tell you what, won't be long, people. It's not long. It's Valentine's Day this weekend, but you know what? It's not long till it's time to plant your garden. So you get your seeds. If you have to order your seeds, order your seeds. My husband is going to be ordering seeds very shortly, because we plant a garden because we just have to share it with the neighbors and whoever else comes along the way. We have to share our garden. That's a part of, maybe that's part of being a grandma and grandpa. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but we love to share our garden. So yeah, now I'm going to blot that because it's just a little bit stronger than what I want, but it still says that there's leaves in there. And I'm going to do a little bit of that back here. I'm going to use my other brush, and we're going to get I'm going to do some dry brush. Okay, so I'm going to hold it like so. I'm going to do some dry brush right there. Some of this, you know, you just kind of do it as you paint. You just think, oh, I think that would work. Let's do that. So here's a little bit of dry brush, just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. And I've covered that up pretty good, but I don't think that matters at all. I like it. I rather like it. You know what? I'm going to do a little bit in here because I don't like those being quite so picky. I don't want them being quite so picky. Okay. And see, as I keep looking at it, I see something else. So how do you know, that's the question. How do you decide when to stop? It's hard to know when to stop. Oh my. It's kind of hard to know when to stop. So there's a little dry brush. I like that better. That's a little bit softer. Okay, I think what I need to do is I need to fix me a puddle here because I want to show you some of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this in here, okay, and I'm going to fix you a puddle of just some brownish gold color, and then we're going to put our toothbrush in it, and we are going to splatter. And you know what? I'm going to put some paper towel up here because I don't want to splatter on my sky any more than I've already splattered on it. So I'm going to put a little bit more gold in there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe just a touch a touch of this. We need just, and you know, when I say a touch, I really do mean just a touch, because boy, you can do too much and then you think, oh, why did I do it that much? I didn't plan to do it that much. So here we go, guys. Oh my, this just kind of makes it fun. You know, you just as well have some fun with what you're doing, huh? Oh, let's see, I better remember to put the paper towel on top there. Put the paper towel on so that it hopefully doesn't go where I don't want it to. Let's see, I'm gonna put here I've got another piece of paper towel. That'll be just fine right there. Yep, and if it splatters on the other, we won't worry about it. There's splatters everywhere. But look at my toothbrush. See it? It's dirty. That's what I want. I want a dirty toothbrush. Okay, here goes. I'm gonna splatter. Oh wow. I like when it splatters. And some of it's bigger spots than what I want. So if it's bigger, I'll see if I need to blot it. And if I don't need to blot it, we'll leave it. I'm going to come up here because this has been a little bit too blah. I don't want it blah. I don't like blah. If you're going to paint, why not paint it fun, not blah? Fix it up till it satisfies you. Oh my, I think that's good. It's just a tiny bit, but it makes a difference. Sometimes it's those tiny things in a painting that makes a difference. And so sometimes it is setting it up, looking at it. Where else do I need something? Oh, I hope you've enjoyed today. This has been so much fun for me. And we'll see you next time. Keep on painting. Paint something pretty. You can do it. Just try it. See you. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, and I'd appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Thank you.